Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a 737 pilot and a member of PMDG's tech team. The time has come, I can finally show you the new LNAV module from PMDG. There will be a lot to say about it and there will be a couple more videos on how to handle it, because some of you may be surprised by the way that LNAV actually works on the real airplane. But on this one we are actually going to have a look at one of those complicated departures that I have not yet seen any other aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator to depict and fly correctly. So let's have a look at the Bavis 1 Delta departure from Heraklion. That's Lima Golf India Romeo, Romeo 27, for those of you who want to try it yourselves. The departure is going straight ahead to an altitude of 600 feet. And let's have a look at that in our cockpit itself. So, the departure is going on a 271 track to 600 feet. Then it is a right-hand turn with a maximum of 210 knots, that's what we have in here, onto the 021 track. We're going to follow that track to intercept the radial 336 from Heraklion NDB. And that's going to go all the way till 5,000 feet. Then, still at maximum 210 knots, what we can see down here, we're going to make a right turn towards the Heraklion NDB, and thereafter it is a right hand turn onto a heading of 325 to intercept and follow radial 280 from Heraklion until Bavis. Now, why is this such a complicated departure? Well, that is for a simple reason. There are so many successive waypoints in there which are not geographically defined. So, what does that mean? Going straight ahead to 600 feet is easy. Then you make a right-hand turn to a floating intercept point. So the intercept point might vary depending on the bank angle flown in the turn. So if the pilot was to hand fly the airplane, for example, and not follow the flight director commands exactly, you will end up slightly left or right off track. And LNAV is actually taking care of that and recalculating the intercept point dynamically as soon as you're on the target track. And that's exactly what the real airplane is doing as well. From there on, you intercept the radial outbound until an altitude. Once again, depending on your climb profile, that waypoint varies and is not geographically fixed. So we have 3 successive waypoints over here, none of which is fixed. Then we finally have a right-hand turn towards an NDB, so towards a fixed waypoint, where the FMC knows for certain where that one is. And then we're going to do a right-hand turn again to an intercept point, so not a geographically fixed one. Until then, finally, we're going to intercept the 280 radial inbound to Bavis. So, in terms of programming, this is quite a challenging departure to program. And I have to admit, prior to recording this video, I did a couple of checks in other aircraft, and neither the Mad Dog, nor the working title G1000 NXI, nor even the Phoenix Airbus have been able to fly this one correctly. So that gives you kind of an idea how this SID is a little bit special. And the good news is the new LNAV module can do this all. So let's go into it and actually start flying a little bit. Now, excuse me for going a little bit inbound with a view, but the focus on this one really is going to be the lateral flight path management, so we'll just take it from here. Also, to make it a bit more complicated for the LNAV system, is we are not going to use VNAV, but we are going to back up manually. So actually things will work out a little bit different than the FMC currently predicts. But that's something that the real airplane has to stand up with, that the real airplane has to be able to cope with. So, all things said and done, let's go, and let's go flying. Do note, by the way, that I've derated the engines very much on this takeoff, so don't be surprised if you don't see the thing rocketing up to the sky. That's all as expected. So, takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots. 321, rotate. You're up. Positive rate. I'll go non-standard, put the autopilot on already, so that we can follow it on the LNAV tracking. So, 600 feet, we start our right turn towards the intercept point. A 1,000 feet, bug up. Now watch the routing closely down here. As soon as we reach our target track, it is going to be recomputed. I'll zoom in a bit more on the display. Here we have it. Once we're on track, it's recalculating from the present position so that we're going to intercept exactly on the 021 track. And flaps up. So we're starting our left-hand turn onto the 338, or 336, sorry. And we have flaps up, no lights. Cleaner. On this leg, of course, since this is a geographically defined leg, as in we have to be on a certain radial, it cannot recompute the route, but you can see how it's doing a pretty good job at managing this. The 5,000 point is of course dynamically recalculated. Alright, I'm passing it, we're doing a right hand turn here towards the NDB. Once again, it's following the magenta line very, very closely, even though we do get an indicated slight overshoot here, because our true airspeed is constantly increasing, and of course because of the wind conditions that we currently have. But this slight indicated overshoot here is going to be corrected for by the airplane. Do note, by the way, that this slight overshoot that we are seeing is something that you are very likely to see on the real airplane as well. The real one does not have a perfect lateral flight path management, so it is often going to happen that it is just going to overshoot on a procedure. Alright, and here we are. We're supposed to do this whole leg to the intercept point, still at a speed of 210 knots. So let's see how that's going to work out. What we see as well right now is that VNAV is going to transition from the climb phase into the cruise phase. That's why we're getting a message here, unable to 10 knots at Heraklion NEB, because once we are in cruise flight, like we are right now, that thing is not going to take into consideration the speed constraints anymore. So we'll actually have to go here and enter that target speed manually in order for the airplane to get a good track keeping. And that is by the real airplane. So some of you will surely say, so how shitty is that system that it can't do this? The honest answer is, like the real one. Because the real one is not a perfect machine. And the PMDG is resembling its limitations in a very nice way. So here we go, on the turn, onto a heading of 325. By the way, the FMC and the LNAV module treats all headings as tracks. So if it says 0 to 1 up here or 3 to 5 up here, then it is actually going to fly it as a track and not as a heading. And that means that when you are on heading leg as part of a standard instrument arrival, then you will actually have to go into heading select manually and not just leave it to do that on LNAV. Alright, approaching 325, we already got to do our left-hand turn for the intercept onto the radial 280. So here we go again. Alright, established on the 280. Now let me show you something more. Let's now just tune the NDB from which we are actually following the radio here. Here we are. What you are going to notice is that we are not exactly on the radial as defined by the chart. And that is not a bug. That is actually a feature. Usually, the real airplane does not fly the exact radial as well, but it is within the tolerances of the procedure design. And that's exactly what we see happening over here. So, that is the new PMDG LNAV module. There will be a couple further videos that I can really recommend you to check out, on which I am going to tell you a couple of the specialties that the new VNAV has and how you got to manage them. And that's just because, as I told you, the real one isn't perfect and we have to manage the real LNAV as well. And you'll have to do just the same in the 737 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. All of that said and done, I would really appreciate to hear your opinion on the new LNAV system, and I hope that you have actually enjoyed this one just like I did. There will be a couple further refinements in the future, I'm sure, but for now there is one more thing that you people have to be aware of, and that is that the new LNAV system still uses the old navigational database for now. The new database is going to be implemented within the sooner future. I can't give you any time frames, of course, because otherwise I'm sure there will be some conspiracy theories as to why those time frames are not being met, as always. So, a little bit background here. The new LNAV system is already capable of carrying out all those new ANA flag types, like radius to fix. However, the current navigational database does not yet include any of these procedures. So the LNAV is capable of handling them, but the system just doesn't know that they are there yet. That is going to come with a navigational database update in the hopefully not too far future. And no worries, it is going to be quicker than from the first LNAV announcement to the LNAV release. It is going to be much quicker than that. And that is actually going to give us some very interesting insights into the ARINC 424 and 429 compatibility. And once we're seeing that, the new LNAV is going to be able to handle those perfectly. So, that said, if you liked the video, I would appreciate a like here in YouTube and maybe a comment telling me what you liked or what you disliked. And if you really love the videos, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Until then, I'm looking forward to see you all on the next video. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, weekend maybe even, whatever it is when you're currently watching this. Thank you very much, and this is 737NG Driver, signing out.